All right, so are you ready to kind of like shuffle up your expectations today? We are diving headfirst into this world of SK Dynasty. It's a trading card game. It's about to turn the genre on its head. Now, I know you're a TCG fan, and trust me, this one's got some serious depth. It's got surprises up its sleeve.
Well, what sets SK Dynasty apart is this core concept. Power isn't given, it's taken.
Yeah.
And it's more than just a tagline. It's woven into how the game's played. You're not just building a deck and hoping for the best. You're actively vying for control, you see, making strategic decisions that directly impact your opponent's options.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So how does this power struggle actually play out in a match?
Well, imagine this. You've got 3 types of cards. Character cards, each with unique strengths, weaknesses, and game-changing abilities. Then there are environment cards, which act like these dynamic modifiers. They can shift the battlefield completely. And to spice things up even further, you've got item cards. They're limited-use power-ups that can swing the tide of battle.
So it's not just about having the strongest cards. It's about knowing how to use them strategically in a constantly changing environment.
Exactly. Every decision matters. You have to think several steps ahead, anticipating your opponent's moves, and adapting your strategy accordingly. Like a constant game of chess, but with a dash of poker thrown in for good measure.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. This sounds like it requires a whole different level of strategy. So walk me through how a typical match unfolds.
Sure. It all starts with setting up your barracks. You divide your cards into 3 piles, characters, environments, and items, shuffle them up, and then draw a set number of cards face down into your ready zone.
Wait, so you're saying you go into battle essentially blind? You don't even know what cards you'll have?
That's the twist. You have to adapt on the fly, make the most of whatever hand you're dealt. It adds this element of surprise and forces you to think creatively.
Okay, now that's a game changer. So how does an actual battle play out?
Let's say you're the attacker. You'd start by playing an environment card from your hand. Each environment card has different modifiers, like boosting certain stats or introducing special rules. But here's where it gets even more interesting. You flip a coin. It's to determine which modifier will be active.
So even the environment has an element of randomness to it. It sounds like you can never truly predict how a battle will unfold.
Exactly. You have to be adaptable, able to think on your feet, and adjust your strategy as the situation demands. After playing your environment card, you draw a character card from your ready zone and choose whether to play an item card. This is where the gamble mechanic comes in, and it's where things get really strategic.
I'm all ears. Tell me more about this gamble mechanic.
Each character card has abilities that can provide bonuses or penalties. Let's say your character has an ability that grants a +1 bonus to strength. You could play it safe and take that guaranteed bonus, or you can roll a special die to gamble.
Oh, I see where this is going. A chance to double down on the bonus, but with the risk of losing it altogether.
Precisely. If luck is on your side, you could get a +2 bonus instead. But if the dice roll goes against you, you might end up with no bonus at all, potentially weakening your character for that battle.
Wow, that's a tough call. It sounds like the gamble mechanic adds a whole new layer of tension and strategy to the game.
Absolutely. It forces you to weigh your options, assess the risks and rewards, and make calculated decisions based on the situation.
So it's not just about brute force. It's about playing smart and knowing when to push your luck. But how do you actually determine the winner of a battle?
Once you and your opponent have played your environment, character, and optional item cards, you each choose a stat to fight with: strength, speed, cunning, or any other stat your character possesses. Then you add up your base stat, any modifiers from the environment card, and any bonuses from your character's abilities or item card. The player with the higher total stat wins that battle.
It's like this dynamic equation where you're constantly trying to outmaneuver your opponent, factoring in all these different variables. But what happens if you and your opponent tie on a stat?
That's where the overall strength of your character comes into play. If there's a tie, you compare the total combined stats of your characters to break the tie. It means you can't just focus on one powerhouse stat. You need a well-rounded character to succeed.
Okay, so it's not just about winning individual battles. It's about building a cohesive team that can withstand any challenge. So how many of these battles do you need to win to claim victory in the entire match?
A full game of SK Dynasty consists of 10 battles. Whoever wins the most battles takes home the glory.
With all these layers of strategy, I can only imagine how intense and unpredictable a full match must be. I'm already starting to see how the power isn't given, it's taken. Concept plays out in every aspect of the game. But there's clearly more to SK Dynasty than just its innovative mechanics, right? I've heard whispers about a pretty remarkable community as well.
Yeah, the community is a huge part of what makes SK Dynasty so special. It's more than just a group of players, you know? It's a collective of fans, passionate fans, and they're actively involved in shaping the game's world and the lore.
Now, that's something you don't see every day in the world of TCGs. What makes this community so unique, and how do they actually get involved in shaping the game?
Well, the creators have fostered this incredible environment where players can contribute through a Patreon system. It's really well designed. It's tiered, so there are options for different levels of involvement, from casual observers all the way up to full-fledged world builders.
That's pretty cool. So tell me more about these Patreon tiers. What kind of perks do they offer, and how do they translate to actual influence on the game?
Okay, let's start with the Dynasty Initiates. For just £2 a month, you get access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes stuff, sneak peeks at upcoming features, and you can participate in discussions about the game's development.
So for the price of a fancy coffee, you can be in the loop and have a voice in the direction of the game. That's not a bad deal.
Not at all. Then there's the Battle Commander tier for £10 a month. Battle Commanders get all the benefits of Dynasty Initiates, but they also get to beta test new content before anyone else.
Okay, now that's a perk I can get behind. Early access to new cards and mechanics, you'd be a step ahead of the competition.
Exactly. And then we have the Legendary Tactician tier. This is where things get really interesting, because at this tier, you actually get to contribute to the game's narrative. You can help develop character backstories, and even get this design some of the first male characters to be introduced to the game.
Whoa, hold on. Creating characters. You're telling me I could potentially bring my own unique hero or villain to life within the world of SK Dynasty.
That's the idea. And for the truly dedicated, the Dynasty Overlords, there's the top tier membership at £50 a month. Overlords get everything from the lower tiers, plus, get this, they get the first 50 cards from each new season, and a direct line of communication with the developers. They're really shaping the evolution of SK Dynasty.
Wow, talk about an elite squad. So it's clear this community is a driving force behind SK Dynasty's development. But what about those of us who are more hands-on with the actual gameplay? Are there tools and resources to support organized play?
Absolutely. There's a comprehensive league system that can handle up to 50 players. And even includes a knockout tournament for the top 16. You can even download a league table. It automatically manages fixtures, so no need to be a spreadsheet whiz to run your own league.
Okay, that takes the hassle out of organizing things. But let's talk about the gamble mechanic again. I'm still fascinated by that element of risk and reward. Are there tools to manage that aspect of the game?
They thought of that too. They have a dedicated dice roller and coin flipper designed specifically for those gamble moments. You can even adjust the minimum starting number on the dice roller if you're dealing with a negative ability.
So everything is balanced and transparent, even when you're pushing your luck. But beyond the core game, what does the future hold for SK Dynasty? What kind of expansions or updates are on the horizon?
Well, they're always adding new content, new character cards, battlefields, items, and they're also exploring new mechanics and gameplay elements, all while staying true to the core principles of strategic depth and community involvement.
It sounds like SK Dynasty is constantly evolving and growing, which is really exciting. But for those of us who are just hearing about it now, where's the best place to start?
The official website, serialcarnage.co.uk/dynasty. It's the hub for everything SK Dynasty. You'll find detailed rules, character profiles, and even video tutorials to get you started. Plus, the community is super welcoming and helpful, especially to newcomers.
So it sounds like whether you're a seasoned TCG veteran or completely new to the genre, SK Dynasty has something to offer. But with all the excitement around its unique mechanics and vibrant community, let's zoom back in on the core gameplay for a second. What are some of the common pitfalls new players should be aware of when first diving into a match?
One of the biggest mistakes I see is underestimating the impact of environment cards. New players often focus on building a powerful deck of character and item cards, but neglect the importance of strategic environment play.
So it's not just about the raw power of your characters. It's about understanding how the environment can influence the battle and using it to your advantage.
Exactly. Choosing the right environment card at the right time can completely change the dynamics of a battle. For example, some environments might boost your character's strengths while hindering your opponents, or they might introduce new rules that you can exploit.
I can see how that would add another layer of strategy to the game. You really have to think ahead and anticipate how the environment will impact both you and your opponent.
Right. And remember that coin flip. That determines which environment modifier is active. That adds an element of chance that you have to be prepared for. You might have a brilliant plan in mind, but the flip of a coin could throw everything off balance.
That's where adaptability comes in, right?
Yeah.
Being able to think on your feet and adjust your strategy as the situation changes.
Precisely. Another common mistake new players make is misusing the gamble mechanic. It can be tempting to gamble every time, hoping to score those big bonuses, but it's important to be strategic about it.
Yeah, I imagine it's a delicate balance between playing it safe and taking calculated risks.
Exactly. Sometimes it's better to take the guaranteed bonus, especially if you're already in a strong position. But other times, that gamble could be the key to turning the tide of battle in your favor. It all comes down to understanding your character's abilities, the current state of the game, and your opponent's potential moves.
It's like you're constantly weighing probabilities, making strategic decisions based on incomplete information. You never truly know what your opponent is holding or how that coin flip will land.
That's what makes SK Dynasty so engaging and unpredictable. You have to think critically, adapt to changing circumstances, and be willing to take risks. It's a game that rewards both careful planning and a bit of daring.
So for those of us who are intrigued by this unique blend of strategy and chance, what's the best way to jump into the world of SK Dynasty and start honing our skills?
Well, you can explore the wealth of information on the official website. They have detailed rulebooks, FAQs, and even glossaries to familiarize yourself with the game's terminology and mechanics.
That's a great starting point, especially for those who want to get a solid grasp of the game before diving into a match. But what about the social aspect of SK Dynasty? How can players connect with the community and tap into that collective knowledge and passion?
The online forums are a fantastic resource. You can find threads dedicated to specific aspects of the game, discussions about strategies and card combinations, and even casual conversations about the lore and characters.
It sounds like a vibrant hub for both new and experienced players to connect, share ideas, and learn from each other.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions. The community is incredibly welcoming and always happy to help newcomers navigate the intricacies of SK Dynasty.
It's inspiring to see a TCG with such a dedicated and supportive community. It really adds another dimension to the game and elevates it beyond just a simple card game.
Absolutely. It transforms it into a shared experience, a world that players can explore and shape together. It's a testament to the power of collective creativity and the enduring appeal of strategic gameplay.
Well, it sounds like SK Dynasty is more than just a game. It's a community, a creative outlet, and a constant challenge for those who dare to enter the arena. I'm definitely itching to try it out myself.
I encourage you to do so. It's a game that rewards patience, strategic thinking, and a touch of luck. But most importantly, it's a game that's best enjoyed with others, in a community that celebrates the thrill of competition and the joy of shared experience.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. From the innovative mechanics and strategic depth of SK Dynasty to its vibrant community and exciting future. But there's one final piece of the puzzle that I'm curious about. We've talked about how the game is currently in alpha testing, but when can we expect to see physical cards hit the shelves?
Well, the team is aiming to move into beta soon.
Yeah.
So you won't have to wait long to get your hands on those physical cards. It's going to be an exciting time as the game enters this next stage of development, you know.
Yeah.
And even more players get to experience the world of SK Dynasty firsthand.
Yeah, I bet the community is buzzing with anticipation. It's not every day you get to witness the birth of a new TCG, let alone one with this much depth and potential.
It's a unique opportunity for players to really be a part of something special, right, from the ground up. And with the Patreon system already in place, they can continue to contribute to its evolution even before those physical cards are released.
It's remarkable how much emphasis they've placed on community involvement. It's clearly not just a marketing tactic. It's a core philosophy. It's woven into the very fabric of SK Dynasty.
Absolutely. And I think that's what sets it apart from so many other games in the genre. You know, it's not just about buying packs of cards and trying to build the most powerful deck. It's about being part of a collective effort, a shared passion for strategic gameplay and world building.
Well, we've certainly covered a lot of ground today. We've explored the intricate mechanics, the strategic depth, and the vibrant community that makes SK Dynasty so unique. But before we wrap up, I have one final question for you. And it's a question I'm posing directly to our listener out there, who's been hanging on our every word, soaking up all this knowledge about SK Dynasty.
I like where this is going. Lay it on us.
If you had the chance to create your own character for SK Dynasty, what kind of hero or villain would you unleash upon this world? What unique abilities would they possess? What epic backstory would they carry into battle?
Let your imagination run wild. Think about the strategic role they would play on the battlefield. Would they be a cunning tactician, a brute force powerhouse, or a master of manipulation?
Would their abilities complement existing characters or introduce entirely new dynamics to the game? And what about their motivations? What drives them to fight? What secrets lie buried in their past?
Possibilities are endless. And who knows? Maybe your creation will one day become a legend in the world of SK Dynasty, inspiring awe and fear in equal measure.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of SK Dynasty. It's been a fascinating journey, and I, for one, am eager to see how this game continues to evolve and captivate players in the months and years to come.
If you're looking for a fresh, innovative, and community-driven TCG experience, I highly recommend checking out SK Dynasty. Head over to serialcarnage.co.uk/dynasty to explore the world, connect with the community, and maybe even start crafting your own legend.
Until next time, happy gaming.